Now, I want you teabaggers out there to understand one thing. While you idolize the Founding Fathers and dress up like them and smell like them, I think it's pretty clear that the Founding Fathers would have hated your guts. And what's more, you would have hated them. They were everything you despise. They studied science, read Plato, hung out in Paris, and thought the Bible was mostly bullshit. And yet, here is a popular painting in Wing on America. Yes, that's Jesus with the Founding Fathers behind him, presenting the Constitution to America. Either that or it's a settlement offer for that boy after he sued the rectory. Oh, my. That's good. Super religious guy Glenn Beck likes to play dress-up as Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine, an atheist who said churches were human inventions set up to terrify and enslave mankind. John Adams said this would be the best of all possible worlds if there were no religion in it. Which is not to say the founders didn't have a moral code. Of course they did. They just didn't get it from the Bible. Well, except for the part about it's cool to own slaves. It's in there, folks. I didn't make it up. The founders disagreed amongst themselves about that and most issues, but the one thing they never argued about was that political power must stay in the hands of the smartest people and out of the hands of the dumbest loudmouth slowing down the checkout line at Home Depot. And yet, Sarah Palin once said of Obama, "We need a commander-in-chief, not a professor of law standing at a lectern." How gay is that? Well, I hate to break it to you, but Thomas Jefferson, lawyer. Alexander Hamilton, constitutional lawyer. James Madison, lawyer. John Adams, constitutional lawyer. They were not the common man of their day. Ben Franklin studied scientific phenomena like lightning and the aurora borealis, and were he alive today, he could probably explain to Bill O'Reilly why the tides go in and out. James Madison was fluent in Greek and Latin and could translate Virgil and Cicero. John Boehner can't translate Fareed Zakaria. And Thomas Jefferson was an astronomer and a physicist who founded the University of Virginia, played the violin, and spoke 6 languages, or as Palin would say, all of them. That's our show. Thank you very much for coming back.
All right, guys. Now, you notice how he talked about the constitutional lawyers that helped write the Constitution? Well, let's hear from another constitutional lawyer who happens to be in the White House. John, hit it.
The fact is, the Republicans' biggest fear at this point is not that Affordable Care Act will fail. What they're worried about is it's going to succeed. I mean, think about it. If it was as bad as they said it was going to be, then they could just go ahead and let it happen, and then everybody would hate it so much, and then everybody would vote to repeal it, and that would be the end of it. So what is it that they're so scared about? They have made such a big political issue out of this, trying to scare everybody with lies about death panels and killing Granny. Right? I mean, that's Armageddon. So if it actually works, they'll look pretty bad. If it actually works, that will mean that everything they were saying really wasn't true and they were just playing politics. Just the other day, one Republican in Congress said, we need to shut this thing down before the marketplace is open and people get to see that they'll be getting coverage and getting these subsidies because, and I'm going to quote him here, he said, it's going to prove almost impossible to undo Obamacare. Right? So, in other words, we've got to shut this thing down before people find out that they like it. That's a strange argument. Don't you think that's a strange argument? And the closer we get, the more desperate they get. I mean, over the last few weeks, the rhetoric has just been cranked up to a place I've never seen before. One congressman said that Obamacare is the most dangerous piece of legislation ever passed. Ever in the history of America, this is the most dangerous piece of legislation. Creating a marketplace so people can buy group insurance plan, the most dangerous ever. You had a state representative somewhere say that it's as destructive to personal and individual liberty as the Fugitive Slave Act. Think about that. Affordable health care is worse than a law that lets slave owners get their runaway slaves back. I mean, these are quotes. I'm not making this stuff up. And here's one more that I've heard. I like this one. We have to, and I'm quoting here, we have to repeal this failure before it literally kills women, kills children, kills senior citizens. Now, I have to say that one was from 6 months ago. I just want to point out we still have women, we still have children, we still have senior citizens. All this would be funny if it wasn't so crazy.
Guys, did you hear what he said? One of the state representatives said, literally kills women, literally kills children, literally kills senior citizens, and you'd think he was making that up, wouldn't you? I mean, you don't think that there would be a bonehead big enough to be in the Republican Party to state that, would you? The reason why we surround ourselves with question marks is so we can prove it to you. Guys, this is from the floor of the Senate. You'll believe it when you see it. John, hit it.
Thing, pre-existing conditions, we can solve it. But no, that wasn't good enough for our president. It wasn't good enough. You see, what he demanded and insisted upon is that the government have 100% control over health care. 100% control? The American people lose control? What did they get? They get health care, health insurance, I should say, that is more expensive than anything they've ever paid for before, and they get less for it. Well, what a deal, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, what a deal. The American people, especially vulnerable women, vulnerable children, vulnerable senior citizens, now get to pay more and they get less. That's why we're here. Because we're saying, let's repeal this failure before it literally kills women, kills children, kills senior citizens. Let's not do that. Let's love people. Let's care about people. Let's repeal it now while we can, and instead do.
Guys, aren't you happy that she's not running again? I mean, really. I mean, come on. But they'll find another Fruit Loop to replace her. And why? Because I tell you, I'm sure that there are Republicans and conservatives that still can't understand why they lost the last election. But they keep thinking like this, and this is what the problem is. And then, they stay clustered together, so they're never exposed to the truth. Now, we're going to show you a clip from Ted Koppel, a respected journalist. And I mean, back in the days when integrity meant everything, Ted Koppel was at the top of the game. You wanted to find out what was going on, that's where you went. Now everything is such a joke. You can get a blogging guy that can say virtually anything, get picked up by anybody and propagated to the simple folk who believe it. Because they never bother. Why? They simply don't take the time to look up the information. It's that simple. So now we're going to show you a clip with Ted Koppel, and he's going to give the old bada bing to Bill O'Reilly. So let's have some fun. John, hit it.
Okay, but there's a big difference between Fox News and MSNBC. Do you know what that difference is?
Tell me.
No, but do you know what it is?
I'm asking you, what do you think it is?
So you concede you don't know what it is?
I don't know what it is, no.
We actually do hard news here from 9 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
8 hours of hard news,
Right.
all right? MSNBC doesn't do 1 hour of hard news. It's all, let's push the liberal Democratic agenda from sign on to sign off. So this is a news agency here, Fox News.
I don't think anyone is going to be confused as to the ideological belief of most of the people who appear on Fox.
I think that's grossly unfair to the hard news reporters, okay?
I mean, Bill, what is it you think that I have said about the network or written about the network?
You think that we've corrupted the sanctity of fair news coverage?
I think...
That's what I think.
I think that ideological coverage of the news, be it of the right or be it of the left, has created a political reality in this country which is bad for America. I think it's made it difficult, if not impossible, for decent men and women in Congress, on Capitol Hill, to reach across the aisle and find compromise. And if we can't do that, Bill, we're going to be in the and we have been, I think, for the last few years, in a terrible situation in this country where politically we can't make deals anymore.
You can't be on top for as long as the Fox News channel has been on top and sell a product that's inferior or dishonest. It's impossible in this country. So therefore, I want you to reevaluate our network, watch it a little bit more, and then we'll talk in about a year. The last word.
The last word is, how many people are watching the Fox network at 10 o'clock in the morning, or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, roughly?
I don't know how many people.
Well, you should. You work for the organization.
You know, we have millions of people watching us sign off to sign on.
Yeah, but you do not have millions of people watching at 10 in the morning, or noon, or 1 in the afternoon. The millions of people are watching you, Bill.
And they're better for it.
The millions of people are watching those of you with a particular point of view. So
that's the way the country works. That's the free marketplace.
That's the free marketplace, and I'm perfectly content to leave it on that note. It's a business, and it's operating as a business. And once upon a time, you and I actually thought journalism was a calling.
But I still think that I'm doing something noble.